All right. I still see a few people joining, but I'm going to go ahead and get us started. So hello and welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining us today to learn more about reporting in LiquidPlanner New. My name is Charisse Myers, and I am managing the migration process for all of our classic customers into LiquidPlanner New. I'm joined today by my colleague, Mary Ellen. Some of you may know her already. She is a longtime LP customer success manager, and she also manages all of our new customer onboarding. So for those who have been following along on this journey, the new product has been under development for over 2 years now, and we are very excited to be in the process of guiding all of our loyal customers into the next generation of LiquidPlanner. So today we'll be specifically taking a look at the brand new reporting module in LiquidPlanner New. For anyone who's already migrated or who has tested the waters in a sandbox environment, you'll already know that the dashboards and analytics modules in Classic have been completely reimagined, redesigned in LiquidPlanner New. And so the reports in your Classic workspace don't necessarily map or migrate directly into New. They'll need to be recreated post-migration. So we're here today to demystify that process for you, to demonstrate the navigation, highlight some of the reporting improvements, and generally introduce you to what reporting looks like going forward. Most people who've migrated already are viewing this as a golden opportunity to audit the reports that they've already created in the Classic instance. It's a chance to reassess what type of data you really want to capture, how you want to capture it, who your audience is, and also to weed out all the various play tests and duplicates that have no doubt accumulated in your libraries over the years. The good news is that all your source data comes over from Classic to New, so all you're rebuilding is the visualizations, how you want to present that data. So Mary Ellen's going to be taking us through the reporting navigation, and she's going to walk through the various capabilities inside a sample migrated workspace. This is going to include the dashboards and report libraries, as well as the Timesheet Export report. After the demo, we'll recap the migration process itself and how you can best prepare your workspace and your team for a smooth transition. Just one point of housekeeping, please feel free to use the Q&A window in your Zoom window there to ask questions throughout, and we will address as many as possible in real time. If for any reason we don't get to all of them, we'll also send the questions and answers along with the webinar recording in the next few days. So with that, I will hand over to Mary Ellen to demo live.
Hey, thank you, Charisse. Let me go ahead and hide myself here. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to jump right into my LiquidPlanner workspace. So this is my LiquidPlanner New workspace. And the first concept I want to talk about is the concept of a library. And a library here in the new product is simply a collection of reports and dashboards. And there are key levels of your plan that have their own dedicated libraries. So let's take a quick look at those levels. The first level is my project collection. So here in the new product, projects are grouped into collections based on their schedule status, scheduled, pending, or archived. I'm here in my scheduled project collection, which is where all of my active work lives. Now notice at the top, I have a library view. So I'll go ahead and click on that. And this drops me into the library for my scheduled project collection. So reports and dashboards created and saved here can only pull data from my scheduled project collection. So back to my portfolio for a moment, we'll dig a little deeper into my plan. The next layer, of course, is we have packages. Packages are grouping our projects based on priority. So I'll drill into this high priority package. And we see again up at the top, library. So the reports and dashboards created here can only pull data from my high priority package. And then using my breadcrumb to get back to my schedule collection again, we have the project, of course, and same thing applies here. In this project, there is a library. These reports and dashboards can only pull data from that one project. So those are some key location-specific libraries. Now, what happens if I want to create a report or a dashboard that can pull data from anywhere across the entire workspace? For that, I'm going to go out to my workspace level library, and I get there by clicking Library in the left margin, and here I am. So again, these reports and dashboards can pull data from anywhere across the entire workspace. And down below here, I have a plan tree that's going to make it easier for me to get to one of those location-specific libraries from here. So you can see in the new product here, the use of the use of libraries is a nice enhancement in that they bring more organization to your reports and dashboards. So let's say now that I want to create a report for my high priority R&D projects, and I only want to show the Q2 hours for those projects. First thing I need to do is navigate to my high priority package library. So from here, I can click on scheduled and then high priority, and I have dropped into that library. Now to get my report started, I'm going to click add reports in the upper right, and I will go ahead and give this report a name. There we go. And you can color code your reports dashboards. I'll leave that as orange. And then what report type do I want here? So what do I want the rows in this report to be? In this case, I'm going to go with a project table. You can see we have other options for creating table reports, but that's all there is to getting started here. So I'll go ahead and create. And right away, LiquidPlanner has spun up a report for me that is an unfiltered list of all projects in my high priority package. Now from here, I need to go ahead and refine this down to just my R&D projects. So for that, I'm going to click Design in the upper right to drop into design mode. And these are my report settings. So you can see right away that this report is already scoped to my high priority package because that's where I was when I created this, initiated this report. So my data filter settings is where I can start narrowing things down. So I'll drop in here. And this is a pretty typical model for filters that you're going to see throughout the workspace. And so I have options here for first, my project filter. So I'll drop in there. Now you have the option to simply say, I want to filter projects based on their scheduling status, but I actually want to combine scheduling status with the R&D classification. So for my filter, I'm going to go custom, and I'll say over here, I only want active projects. And then to get my R&D projects out, I'm going to find my custom data field called business unit, and I'm going to select R&D from there. There we go. All right, and so with that, I've narrowed down to my R&D projects. Go ahead and apply. And now for this particular report, I am not going to narrow down my, my tasks or my assignees, but I am going to narrow down my date range to pull in just Q1 and Q2 hours. So I'll drop in here. You can see we give you some preset time ranges that you could use, but I need to go custom date range. And so I'll go ahead and set my starting date for January 1st and my end date for June 30th. And there we go. So all of my filters are set for this report. Now I'll go ahead and apply. And then next I choose my data columns. So I'll drop in here and we're just moving the columns left to right if we want to include them in this report. So the LiquidPlanner started me out with some suggested columns. I'm just going to make a couple of quick adjustments. I'm going to rearrange a few columns here, and I'm going to pull in a different field. I want to pull in my business unit field. And there we go. So now I have a sort by. So I get to sort my report, the default sort, by any of those columns that I pulled into this report. I'm just going to leave this at priority and then include alert icons. If any of these projects have schedule risk, do I want to see that as an alert icon in this report? I'm saying yes, I do. And do I want to show totals in my report? Again, yes, I do. So I'll go ahead and click save. And with that, there is my table report. Very simple to go ahead and create these table reports. Now, for those of you already using this new product, you can see that these table reports are very much like the grid view, with the advantage that you can save your selected filters and columns in a report for future use. For those of you using our classic product, I do want to highlight the fact that reports are available here not just to admins and managers. Here in the new product, all members have read-only access to reports, and you can also grant editing access to reports to specific members through their assigned user roles. Now, as always, the report is a live status of my data. So if I want to grab a snapshot of these metrics as they appear right now, I can go ahead and download this out to Excel. I'll also point out there's a little icon here to go ahead and copy a link to this report, so you can share a link to the live report with anybody else in your workspace. And so with that covers table reports. Very simple. Now let's say that I want to create a dashboard for all of my high priority projects. I need to start by going back to the library for my high priority package. So that's going to be, I'll use my breadcrumbs up here to get quickly there, library. And there I am. Now to create a dashboard, I'm going to choose Add Dashboard at the top. And I will give this a name. And I like my dashboards to be green. And there we go. And then what this is doing is it's spinning up a dashboard for me with some suggested widgets. And I can go ahead and refine the dashboard. Apologies for the delay here. We're doing a little bit of work on dashboards behind the scenes. So there it is. All right. So we can see that LiquidPlanner spun up the dashboard for me with some suggested widgets. I can go ahead and refine this dashboard by clicking Design in the upper right to drop into design mode. Now, to save us some time today, I am not going to refine this particular dashboard. Instead, I'm going to step you through a dashboard that I had already refined and saved, and it includes examples of most of the widget types that are available to us. So that dashboard is a workspace level dashboard. So I'm going to go back to my workspace library, click Library on the left here. And this is the dashboard in question. And again, I created it here because I knew that I wanted to pull in data from anywhere across my entire workspace. So I'll drop into this dashboard, and here it is. So a dashboard is simply a collection of widgets that live in groups. And you can see the gray background around my widgets here. They represent groups. Groups help me organize my widgets, also give me a level at which I can apply some filtering. Now at the top right of my dashboard here, I have a widget. It's a notes widget. I just put in some navigation tips for my new dashboard users to be sure they understand the controls that are available to them when they're looking at a dashboard. So going into this widget as an example, if I hover over this calendar icon, it's going to let people know if there are any date range restrictions on the data in this widget. The next icon is a more details icon. So the widgets we are seeing right now are considered to be preview widgets. There are limits to how much data we can show up front here in a preview widget. So it's important that we have this more details link. If they click on that, they will drop out into all of the data that I wanted them to see for this widget. So now I'll use my orange button in the top left here to go back into my dashboard. And then the third control here is a settings control. This is the settings for this widget. Now this is going to be active only for project managers, and admins. It's just grayed out inactive for anybody else. And it's simply saving those people the need to go out to the main design mode in order to adjust the settings for this particular widget. So let's see now how I created this dashboard, put it together. I'm going to click Design in the upper right to drop into design mode. Now, for those of you using dashboards in our classic product, you're going to notice that here in the new product, you have more flexible layout options, several more widget types, and the ability to expose more complete data sets, as we just saw with that more details link. So when I first dropped into this dashboard, the first thing I did was come out to settings and filter. And these are the settings for my entire dashboard. And so I put some header text that they'll see at the top of my dashboard. I added our logo that'll show at the top of the dashboard. And then these are scope and filters for the dashboard as a whole. So if I set these here, they are going to be inherited automatically by every group and every widget in this dashboard. I'm not doing that here. I'm leaving these all unconstrained because I prefer to put my scope and my filters at the group or the widget level. But you are going to notice that this model of scoping and filtering looks just like we saw in the report when we were building out the report. So this is a common model that you're going to see in various areas. So since that's all sitting the way I would like it, what I'm going to do now is focus on layout. So I'm clicking layout in the top left here. And when I hover over my dashboard here now in design mode, layout mode, you're noticing that the group is now being highlighted in blue. And I'm seeing some group level controls. So this is the filter for my group. If I drop into this, we're seeing again that similar model for scoping and filtering. Now in this case, the only thing I narrowed down here for my group was I set the scope to my scheduled project collection. I only want the widgets in this group to be pulling data from my scheduled project collection. I left my projects, tasks, assignees, and date ranges all unconstrained. So I'll go ahead and apply. And then this other group control right here is the options menu. I'll drop into that. And you can see that I can resize this group. I could go to full size, takes up all the real estate there. I'll drop it back to half size. Then I also have the ability to add a widget into this group from here. I could duplicate the group. It'll duplicate all the widgets along with the group, or I could delete the group, which of course would delete all the widgets along with the group. And then in the upper left here, I have my move control. So I could grab that and move this entire group of widgets to a different location in my dashboard. And then I also put a label on this group. So I want people to just be extra clear that the data in this group is being pulled from my scheduled project collection. It's just scheduled work. So those are my group controls. Now, if we drop into a widget, you're going to see that this also has a move control. One thing to be aware of, if you are, let's say, dragging a widget from one group into another group, be mindful that the widget is going to take on any group level scopes or filters that you had set in the group that it lands in. So just something to be aware of, but otherwise, absolutely, you can drag widgets from one group to another. The widget also has this options here. So I could half size this widget, duplicate it, or delete it. So let's go ahead now and see how we actually created these widgets. So what I did is, well, what you can do, there are 3 ways to add widgets into a dashboard. You can click add widget up here at the top. If you do that, it's going to spin up an entirely new group with your new widget in it. Or we already saw that I could add a widget from here in the group. That'll land my new widget at the top of the group. Or I can drop to the bottom of my group and choose add a widget to drop a widget to the bottom of my group. Now, no matter where you do this from, when you select add widget, you're getting the same widget gallery. So these are all of the available widgets for you in a dashboard. There are 18 different widgets here that you can choose from. I've already got examples of most of these in my dashboard, so I'm going to go ahead and close this gallery for the moment. And I'll step you through what we have here in my dashboard for widgets. So I'm going to start here in my right group, my group on the right, and I want to focus on these widgets here because the widgets here down in this group all get scoped to a particular location in the plan. So their settings are going to look very similar. So if I click settings on this widget, for example, this is pretty typical of what you'll see. So we've got the title and the scope. I have scoped this widget to just my CRM project. And then some of these widgets that are getting scoped to a location are going to also ask you, where do you want them to go when they click on the more details. Many options for where you can take people when they do click into the widget for more detail. I just chose to go to the grid view. And then some of these also will ask you to select the metrics that you want to pull in. And this is going to work the same way we've seen already. If you want them to see the metrics, drag them from left to right, and they will be available for your widget users, your dashboard users. Okay, and so again, that's the familiar pattern that we're going to see for these widgets. Let's talk about what each of these widgets does. This is a properties widget, and it is simply pulling in various properties that I choose for people to view here in the widget. In this case, only for my CRM project. Over to the right, this is a linked notes widget. And so what's going on here is my Lens redesign project has a note in its edit panel, and I've set this widget to link out to that particular note. Now moving down again, we have the schedule summary widget. This is giving me just highlighting for me expected start and expected finish dates, in this case, for the work in my high priority package. Next, we have an insights widget, also scoped to my high priority package. Again, various metrics that we can show people related to the work in that package. This widget also has some direct links out to other areas in the plan. Now, the last one down here is a changes widget, and this is scoped to just my one Lens redesign project. It's showing me the last 5 changes that were made in that project. So those again are the widgets that are getting scoped to particular locations in your plan. If I move over to my left group now, these widgets have more the ability to get more granular with your filtering. So I'll start with this top one, which is a project list widget. I'll drop into the settings, and here we go. So scope here, I did not narrow down the scope for this widget. I'm letting it inherit the scope from my group. This is where I get to be more granular with the data I'm pulling into this report. So I'll go ahead and drop into filter settings. And again, this should look familiar to you, right? The only thing I narrowed down here again was for my project filter. I set it to active projects. I left the rest unconstrained. And next, again, choosing my data columns. Which columns metrics do I want people to see for this widget? Now, when we're working in list widgets like this, go ahead, pull in everything you want them to see. But notice that you're limited to 5 columns in a list widget. And so go ahead and make sure that the 5 columns you want to see in the preview widget are the ones that are sitting at the top. Otherwise, pull everything in, they'll see it all when they click the more details on that widget. So I'll drop out of there. And next we have the sort, just like we saw in reports of those columns, which do I want to be my default sort in this widget? And then width. So this is what I was just talking about. You can do a max of 5 columns in a preview widget. Go ahead and set it to how many you do want to show. And then depth, you can do a max of 20 rows in the preview. So go ahead and set that to what you want them to see in the preview. And then do I want to show totals? And I'm saying right here, yes, I do want to show the totals. And again, I also said, show me my alert icons, which of course we can see right here on that project. So this is the model that you're going to see for all of the widgets here down in this group. So go ahead and save that. And we will talk about the widgets that I have in this group. So again, that was a project list widget. Moving down again, this is another project list widget, just filtered to my R&D projects. Next one is a project list widget filtered to just my projects with schedule risk. So this is a really nice way to stay on top of risk in your plan. You're going to pull in just the items that have risk in this particular widget, just the projects that have risk. Now, next widget down is a task list widget. I'm doing the same thing. I'm filtering it to just tasks that have schedule risk. So definitely recommend going with this in a dashboard to stay on top of your schedule risk. Moving down again, we have this one is a person list widget. And so here I just wanted to show the current month hours for my marketing team. And so there are several different types of list widgets. They all function the same. So moving away from list widgets, next we have a workload widget. And this is most useful, I think, if you drill into it. And this should look actually very familiar to you. This is just like using the workload view in your plan. We're seeing everyone with work in this time frame, what they're working on, when they are working on it, how much of their availability is going toward it. So that is the workload widget. I'm going to use my orange button at the top again to get back into my dashboard. And then coming down the left again, we have, this one is called a metrics tally widget. And again, it's just pulling in various metrics that I chose to show. In this case, I only wanted to focus on my dev team and the hours for the current month. And then my last widget in this group, another one that's best understood, I think, by drilling into the more details. And we're dropping into a board view. So this is a task status board, all of my tasks living in columns based on their custom task status. So go back to the dashboard again, and that covers all of the widgets in this left group. And I'm going to bump to the top of my right group again and talk about these two widgets, which they aren't getting scoped to anything. They're just very simple. This one is a notes widget. Again, it's a rich text editor. And this one is an image widget. You can go ahead and upload any widget that you would like into your dashboard. So that covers all of the widgets that I have here in my two groups that are scoped to my scheduled project collection. Now, if I drop to the bottom here, I have a third group, and this one is scoped to my pending project collection. And so what I'm actually doing here is modeling our workflow for taking in new work. So it starts with an intake form. So I have an intake form here, for example, if somebody wants to request a new white paper project, they would come here and they would fill out this form. When they submit it, I've set up this form to duplicate my white paper template project and drop that new project into a pending package I have called Project Request Awaiting Approval. Then we'll go ahead and review that pending request. If we approve it, we're going to move it in the pending collection over to a package called Approved Project Requests. And so you can see what we're doing here is from a user point of view, we are making it very simple for your team to request new projects. We're putting standardization around the process by which they do that and making it very easy for them to keep an eye on the status, the approval status of any projects they have requested. So how did I create this intake form widget? Well, for that, I will click on Settings. And here we are in the setup for this intake form. So up at the top, of course, my title, based on template. This is where I told LiquidPlanner that when this form gets submitted, go out and duplicate my white paper template. Next one, package destination. This is where I told it. Take that new project that you just created and drop it into my pending project collection, projects awaiting approval. And then package priority, where in that package do I want it to land? Confirmation message, when people submit their form, what do I want them to see? Do I want to include the requester information in the description field for the new product? I'm saying yes, I do, for the new project, excuse me. And then the form layout. Here I have the ability to upload an image into the form if I'd like to do so. And then down here, I am selecting the fields that I would like them to see and fill out in my form. Now, for each field that I put in the form, I get to say, is that a required field, optional, or is it read-only? I maybe have some fields that are already populated, but I want them to see them in the form. But it's really nice here that you can make fields required. It's a great way to ensure that you are getting the data you need in these new project requests. And then I put some helper text in here that will appear in the form for the people who are filling it out. Now, as you're building out your form, you might want to see what is it looking like for my users. You might even want to test it. So for that, you can come up to Save and Use. And this drops me right into the form as it appears for my users. I could actually go ahead and fill out this form and submit it to go ahead and do a test. And so orange button back to my dashboard. And that has covered all of the widgets that we can put into a dashboard. So all workspace members have access to all dashboards, but just like in the classic product, you can invite people outside your workspace to view dashboards. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and click design in the upper right and guest access. Very simple. I'll go ahead and send an email invitation to those people. When they log into your dashboard, they are going to be able to use the calendar icon here. They'll be able to drill in and see all of the details for the widget, but everything will be read-only for your dashboard guests. And just as with reports, dashboards are always reflecting the live status of your plan. So with that, we have covered both table reports and dashboards, and each has their advantages. As you can see, dashboards are ideal for easily created and broadly shared visualizations, while table reports facilitate deeper data crunching and visualizations through their exports to Excel. So let's go ahead and switch gears now and talk about timesheet data export. For that, I'm going to click people in my left margin, and then time, and then export data. So timesheet exports break out logged and scheduled hours by person, task, and day. If you're using billing rate sheets, this is also where you'll see the dollar calculations for those hours. So to get started here, I'm going to go ahead and set my filters to pull out the data set that I want. I will again say I only want to look at Q1 and Q2 hours. So I'll drop into my starting date, grab January 1st, last date, June 30th. There we go. All right, for tasks, I am not going to narrow down my tasks. I want to pull in all tasks. For projects, I'll say I only want to pull in hours for active projects. And then for members and resources, I can pull over individuals, or if you are using groups, I could pull in groups to maybe pull in a team at a time. And one of the, nope, I'll go ahead and leave it at that. So I'll save there. And then customize columns. So what columns do I want to pull out in my export? So this actually is a nice enhancement from the classic product. You get to choose your columns right up front here before you do your export. Now, the system has remembered the columns that I pulled in from the last time I did an export. And so I'm going to say those are looking good for this export. I'll go ahead and stick with those. I'll click save. And then here we're getting a preview of the data set, but I'll go ahead and download out to Excel to get that full data set out into Excel. And so that's all there is to creating, downloading your timesheet data. I want to show you, or I want to highlight the fact that you can here in the new product get the scheduled hours. So this is new for the new product, and I want to highlight the value of that. It's enabling us to do future looking, forecasted, time phased forecasts. So let me show you a couple examples that I have here, a couple of pivot tables that I created just to demonstrate this. So here, what I've done with my export is I've got a pivot table that's showing my Q2 hours by project, person, and month. So April, May, and June. And then in my next pivot table, I just flipped it. I've got the people and then their projects. And then in my third table here, what I'm doing is I'm looking at Q2 billable hours and dollars by project and month. And I'm able to get the billable calculations again because I am using a billing rate sheet in my workspace. So just a few examples, just like to highlight the value of having those scheduled hours in your timesheet data export. And the last thing I want to mention about exporting time tracking data is you can do it from a project as well. So if I come out to projects and I drill into a particular project, notice time. So this is the same as what we were looking at. Time export data works exactly the same way. It's just that it is pre-scoped to this one project. So with that, we have covered the three main options for reporting in the new product: table reports, dashboards, and timesheet data export. I'll end by mentioning that we also have an open API that can be used to pull data for creating reports or integrating with other tools. And with that, I will go ahead and turn it back over to Charisse.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mary Ellen. So as you can see, in addition to most of the reporting capabilities that you're already familiar with in Classic, the new platform also offers some cool new features and a much improved design mode UI. There's also more to come though. So there's a couple of features that maybe are not fully available in new yet that you may recognize from Classic. We do have a lot still under development. We have big plans for financial reporting, baseline reporting, critical path visualization. They're all under development right now. So regardless of when you migrate, whether it's tomorrow or in 3 months from now, those new reporting features will automatically be rolled out into your instance as they're released. So you don't need to do anything to take advantage of those. For anyone who's not already had the opportunity to explore a sandbox environment or who hasn't already migrated, please reach out to migrate@liquidplanner.com or fill in the form on our migration page. We'll paste both of those in the chat window for your reference, and we can set you up with an instance to play in and to kick the tires and to check things out before you commit to migrating if you haven't already. Now, the migration process itself is quick and seamless. There's no downtime. And almost everything maps to the new version for a very smooth transition with no data loss. That includes your active projects as well as anything that's on hold or complete and archived, templates, user data, time tracking history, everything comes over. So for anyone who missed our migration webinar in December, we're going to paste a link to that recording in the chat window as well, because while this today was very specific to reporting, the migration webinar walks through all of the key differences just between the Classic and new interfaces. So you'll know your way around even before you log in to new for the first time. If you have any questions about what the transition might look like for your organization specifically, please let us know, and we'll be happy to meet with you individually to discuss your specific use case and your readiness for migration, as well as to cover any other questions you might have. I apologize for any of the questions that we didn't get to today live, but we do have them all, and we'll be sharing both the questions and the answers alongside the recording of this webinar in the next few days. So keep your eye open for that, and we'll make sure that we get that into everybody's hands. So that is everything we have today, and I thank you again for your time and look forward to hearing from you guys. Take care.